Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to the fifth episode in the career series brought to you by BITS Pilani Dubai campus. So in this episode, we are going to explore chemical engineering. We are going to explore the future of a chemical engineering graduate. Um, so chemical engineering is one of the major important branches. It is different from chemistry. So in this episode, we're going to explore all aspects of it. So with me, I have here in the panel, we've got our entrepreneur, Ms. Tanisha Varalwar. So she has started up her own brand of cosmetics, which are 100% organic, called Tsara Cosmetics. The corporate representative, Mr. Rajesh Suresh, who is into oil and gas safety. He is currently working at Monaco Engineering Solutions. And our higher education representative, Ms. Chanel Gowicker. She's completed her master's in chemical and biomolecular engineering at the University of Pennsylvania. So all three of them are the alumni of BITS Pilani Dubai campus who are here to tell you about their own perspectives of how life turned out to be after graduating from chemical engineering. Next, we have our faculty representative, Dr. Nishant Pandya. So he's the head of department of chemical engineering at BITS Pilani Dubai campus, and he's had over 13 years of teaching experience. And he is here to tell you about the course structure, the ins and outs of chemical engineering. And next, we have our placements officer, Mr. Amsal Muneeb, who is here to shed light on the job prospects, what's the placement packages like, all these aspects of a chemical engineering graduate. And last but not the least, we have our student representative, Ms. Urvashi Satwani, who has graduated freshly. So she is here to give you the experience of a student, of a chemical engineering student. All right. So without further ado, we are going to be starting this session. So the structure of the session is going to be like this. So we'll start off with the course structure of chemical engineering. What are the different courses? How they are going to help you in the future, whether you take up the corporate route or the higher education, the research route, or whether you start up. And then we'll move on to student experiences, where our panelists are here to give you authentic, real-life personal anecdotes from their experience as a chemical engineering student. And thirdly, we look at future options. I'm sure I have questions here from Saurabh from Hisar, Sanya from Sirsa, who are very curious about what are the further scopes available in chemical engineering. How can you get a biotechnology job after getting a chemical engineering degree? All of these questions will be answered. And finally, we'll also look at who is best suited to study chemical engineering. What are the eligibility criteria? What kind of qualities one should have or one is going to develop by studying chemical engineering? All right, so let's get started with this panel discussion. The first segment, we're going to be talking about what the course structure is like, what chemical engineering actually consists of, what you're going to be studying and how it will be relevant later on to the further career options that you'd be choosing. So let's bring in our first panelist, Dr. Nishant Pandya, who is the head of department of chemical engineering in BITS Pilani Dubai campus. So Dr. Nishant, what is chemical engineering? Like, what is unique about it at BITS Pilani Dubai campus?
Thank you, Ms. Lasya, for introducing me. Let me answer the first question. What is chemical engineering? Where chemical engineering is the most versatile branch of engineering disciplines. And chemical engineers can work in chemical industries, in petroleum refining and petrochemical industries, biotechnology and pharmaceutical industries, in food industries, environmental applications, or even in utilizing the alternate energy sources. In very simple terms, I put that the chemical engineering is all about converting raw material into final products in the most efficient and economical way, which is environmentally friendly and safe for the society. To do this conversion, chemical engineers design the processes that produces chemical product at an industrial scale, which combines the knowledge of chemistry, physics, along with mathematics and in some cases biology. So you may just look around you right now, you will see everything around you. A chemical engineer is involved in the manufacturing of those products. So for example, the clothes you are wearing, paint on the wall, or cement and steel structure which makes the wall. And let me come to the second part. What is the uniqueness about this chemical engineering program at BITS Pilani Dubai campus? Well, I would like to mention that we have a unique teaching methodology as well as innovative evaluation system. So apart from regular interactive classroom lectures, and we have tutorial sessions which are mainly filled with various activities such as group-based learning, hands-on activities, lab-based learning, and software-based learning.
All right, that was amazing. Thank you, Dr. Nishant. Yeah, so that's very true. Chemical engineering encompasses a wide range of industries from food, drugs to manufacturing paints, plastics, polymers, and even building materials, right? So, what all are the core courses and electives that will be covered, because this is such a wide range, right? So, what is offered at BITS Pilani Dubai campus?
Right. So this is interesting because every student would like to know that what they are going to study. So apart from the foundation courses which are common for all disciplines, I would like to highlight that what chemical engineering students will take in particular. So they will study in total 15 core chemical engineering courses, 5 discipline electives, 5 open elective courses, and 3 humanity electives. Moreover, they will also undergo total 7.5 months of industry internship, where 2 months during the summer term at the end of second year, and a 5.5 months during the final year. Alternatively, if a student is interested in research, he can take up a thesis option in the final year. So some of the core courses I would like to highlight here are chemical process calculations, fluid mechanics, heat transfer, material science and engineering, separation processes, kinetics and reactor design, process design principles, and process dynamics and control. So these are compulsory courses for all students who take up chemical engineering. Apart from this, they have a choice to select elective courses.
All right, that's amazing. All right, thank you, Dr. Nishant. Yeah, so that was a very good brief about the course structure offered in BITS Pilani Dubai campus. So let's look at how these courses have actually helped our past alumni in choosing their field. So we've just heard about the course structure from Dr. Nishant Pandya. So Rajesh, so out of these courses, like which of the courses prepared you for your job in the oil and gas industry? Like what skills are these companies looking for when they're recruiting?
Right. Thank you, Lasya. To be honest, I feel that the course as it is right now is structured in a very well way, providing all the candidates with the necessary and important technical skills, as well as the equally important real world skills which every potential employer is looking for. I mean, when you jump and apply into a job in the field of chemical industry, of course, you will be having a technical assessment. And this is quite an important aspect, which I believe that, the courses such as process design principles, separation processes, and there are a number of other courses. You can spend a lot of time in your classroom, learning theory, sitting in front of your textbook. But in my opinion, the standout factor that BITS Pilani Dubai campus offers is, your industrial visits, inviting guest lecturers to give talks, and most importantly, the practice school program. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. I can attest to it, like especially courses like, process design and all of that do help not only in chemical engineering, but any aspect of working in general. All right. So we have seen like what courses would had helped Rajesh in a corporate setting. Now let's look at another side of working. Let's get our entrepreneur in the panel, Ms. Tanisha Varalwar. So Tanisha, what courses, electives, or skills that you picked up during your study helped you start up?
Hi, Lasya. So yes, so basically because, our brand was not always about creating a brand, but also making quality products. A lot of my job depended upon manufacturing the products. So I think my courses back in BITS, the core courses mainly, whether it was separation, processes and material sciences, I think, and majorly the lab courses really helped me, connect with the real-time equipment and manufacturing processes. And I could actually familiarize as soon as I went to a factory after my graduation.
That's amazing. Now, especially since you have started up your own cosmetic brand, organic cosmetic brand, I'm sure it's like very directly relevant, the manufacturing process. Thank you, Tanisha. All right, so let's bring in Chanel Govekar, who has just finished her master's in chemical and biomolecular engineering. So, Chanel, how effective was the course structure at BITS? What kind of support did you receive from the department while you're pursuing your higher education degree?
In terms of the course structure, I think I got a lot of great background from BITS Pilani Dubai because like my core in terms of thermodynamics, kinetics, and my math foundation was really good. Like the foundation I got in BITS Dubai was really good, and that helped me in my first year as a graduate student, I think. And in general, in terms of the help that I got, there was always like faculty supporting you. So if you're not sure about something like a particular core elective and you're not sure what to take, you could always go to them, attend a few classes. You have flexibility to change classes, and you could always see whether that's a good fit for you because you have like a week or two to change classes. And that I think helped me in like, taking subjects that were of my interest and kind of what I built on in my graduate study.
That's amazing, Chanel. And again, as always, if you have any questions that that hasn't been answered in the session, or that is not that you hadn't come across, you can always post your questions in the link given, bit.ly/bpdcqs. That's great. So let's bring in our student representative, Ms. Urvashi Satwani. So, Urvashi, so what has been your favorite course throughout, and what was like the most challenging, since you've just completed it? What was it like?
Yeah, for sure. I think the out of the first year foundational courses, I loved thermodynamics, and it was a great continuation of the chapter of the same name in 11th grade chemistry. I also really enjoyed Math 3, which were a major chunk of which was differential equations. Again, something I learned in high school in grade 12, and that actually really helped me again. And one of my core courses, PDC, Process Dynamics and Control. Apart from that, I think my most challenging course would be computer programming, because I didn't come from a computer background at all, and it was difficult. But I really think that looking back, it was something very crucial and very important, and it's a course that every engineer should know. I also really appreciate how BITS gives us so much flexibility in choosing our electives. So I chose a core elective called Colloids and Interface Engineering, which really helped me in my internship at R&D in an FMCG company.
All right, thanks, Urvashi. That was quite insightful. All right, so that concludes the course structure. Now moving on to the next segment, we'll be looking at the student experience. So this is where we'll be looking at what you guys are really in for, how hard the course structure is going to be, how easy is it going to be, would you be able to manage academics, and would you still have time for extracurriculars? So let's start with our head of department of chemical engineering, our representative from the professors, Dr. Nishant Pandya. Can you tell us about the infrastructure and research facilities that are available in the chemical engineering department that the students can utilize?
Yeah, sure, Ms. Lasya. So, you know that laboratory experiments are essential part of learning. Right? Student can visualize their understanding in the whatever the concepts they learn in the classroom, and they can perform experiment and see that how it turns out. So we have two completely lab-based courses named as Chemical Engineering Lab 1 and Chemical Engineering Lab 2. So which are offered during third year. We have well-equipped laboratories, which contains all relevant equipments which are necessary for chemical engineering students. So to name a few equipment here, I will mention we have several types of chemical reactors. We have vacuum distillation setup, heat exchangers, size reduction equipments, high pressure filtration setup, cooling tower, gas absorption backpack column, and a process control trainer for temperature, pressure, and level control. Apart from this, we also have research equipment and instruments such as thermal gravimetric analyzer, differential scanning calorimeter, tensiometer, xenon lamp, high temperature fluidized bed reactor, and a spectrometer, refractometer, and several other equipment. I would also like to highlight here that we have another lab facility on campus, which is a creative lab, which is open for all students, and it is accessible 24/7 by all students after registration. So in this lab, they can conceptualize their innovative ideas and into products either by working individually or in a multidisciplinary team.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Nishant. Yeah, that was amazing. Like lots of hands-on, education happening there in the labs. I remember during my time, yeah, there were at least about 4-5 courses that we had to go to labs in, ranging from heat transfer labs to we had this course called SKIO. So, how did the institute cope with the academics during this pandemic?
Yeah, so that's interesting, and I'm very proud to say that during this pandemic situation, we have coped up in the situation very easily and very rapidly. Even we have started our online classes immediately without missing a single day. All the classes were conducted online using live classroom teaching using several platforms such as Impartus, as well as WebEx and Google Meet. So the video recordings of this lectures were also available to the student to view them again later on in case they have any doubt. And even we have conducted laboratory sessions online using either a virtual laboratory, remote laboratory access, or virtual lab. So apart from this, I would like to mention that Dubai has opened up their almost all activities are 100% open. All offices are running with full capacity, but all precautionary measures are taken. So next academic year, we are planning to start on 1st September. Classes will be conducted by keeping necessary safety and precautionary measures in place.
That's great. It's great that BITS Pilani has been able to adapt very fast, and I'm sure it's a testament to the already existing facilities and infra, with the telepresence and all the online facilities. That's amazing. All right. Thank you, Dr. Nishant.
Thank you.
So now let's look at it from a student perspective of how they've taken to all the online advantages available and what the student experience was like, their life on campus. Let's bring in the student representative herself, Ms. Urvashi. So what was your experience like? What all clubs and departments have you been a part of as a chemical engineer?
Sure. So I was really involved in the BITS Pilani Dubai student chapter of AICHE, which stands for American Institute of Chemical Engineers. And what they are is a world-renowned global chemical engineering body. And being a member of an association like that gives you so many opportunities, from access to academic resources and presentations and courses as well, to be getting a chance to be a part of the global executive student committee, which I was a part of. Apart from that, I also led the team to participate in the ChemiCar competition. The ChemiCar competition is AICHE's competition that involves, building a toy-sized car that carries a specific load and goes a specific distance and stops. I had a great learning curve, and these are the things that I've been a part of.
Wow, that's quite amazing. Like going through the profile, being a member of AICHE, both the global and on-campus thing, and leading your team for the KMACAR competition. That's quite amazing. Thank you, Rishi. All right. So next, let's bring in our the higher education representative, Chanel, who has just finished her master's in chemical and biomolecular engineering. So Chanel, what was your life like back in campus? Like what all research projects did you take up, or did you have any articles published? What was it like?
Okay, so in terms of like campus life, if I have to talk about like my overall growth in campus, I think there was like a good balance between both academic growth as well as, overall personality development. So in terms of academics, I always had like I think in my final year, that's when I got a little serious, and I think I did a few research projects with faculty in BITS, and it helped me a lot in terms of building a stronger profile for my graduate studies. So, because my application was based basically mainly on those two research projects. In terms of applying for my master's, my overall life in my overall campus life involved both like a good balance between getting involved. Maybe I didn't exactly participate maybe in cultural cultural programs such as Russian, but it was good. Like it was a good experience to get out of like mainly just the academics of an engineering course.
Thanks, Chanel. That was amazing. Okay, so Rajesh, earlier you had mentioned about PS1, PS2 helping you out in getting the skills required. So what was your PS1 and PS2 experience like? Like, did it really help you prepare for your job, like what you're doing currently? Is it in the same field?
Yes, to answer the second part of your question, yes, it really did help me. Jumping to the first part of the question about my PS1 and PS2 experience, well, the PS1 experience is more, say exposure oriented, which is quite keen introducing people like myself at the time who had, say, no professional working experience in the field. So my PS1 experience was basically me, a fresh guy in university, stepping into an MNC and being overwhelmed, by the work culture, the work ethics. Whilst my job was mostly, based on a desk, what I did take away from it was, the knowledge of working of a real world company. And, it did give me a slice as to what I could expect if I decided to further take a job in the field. When I jumped to my PS2 experience, I would say that was more exciting experience. Not only because of the wonderful team that I got to work with, but also, I was part of a true functioning team, in the industry. Well, my practice two station was actually working with one of the major oil and gas companies in Indonesia. And I was given an opportunity, to support one of the senior engineers over there. And given due to that, majority of my PS2, was spent in a foreign country working with one of the leading oil and gas companies. And what this allowed me to do was, most importantly, learn as well as try and apply wherever applicable the small skills, which I had learned over the past 3.5 years in my university. Additionally, through this experience, I did kind of understand in a way, the changing needs and the challenges of a professional environment, what, any candidate could kind of expect. To put it in a nutshell, what I would say is that employers nowadays are very interested in your past experiences, in your past internships. And I do believe that the Practice School 1 and 2 programs are immensely helpful in giving you an edge while applying for a graduate position. Yeah. Thank you.
That's amazing. Like, one, you had a lot of international exposure, and going into chemical engineering jobs, the oil and gas industry, manufacturing, whatever it may be, there's a lot of international opportunities out there. Yeah, that's great. So we've seen what the institute offers to the students. So let's get the entrepreneur on the panel, Ms. Tanisha Varalwar. So what was your campus experience like? Were there avenues to hone your leadership skills, because that's very required when you're starting up a whole company? And did you hold any positions of responsibilities? What was it like?
So I think broadly being in a city like Dubai with so many combinations of culture really gave me exposure as to how the real-time market is like and the industry is like. And moreover, being a student from BITS, I think one of the good things about BITS is it's not just about your core subjects, but I personally took courses like public speaking, entrepreneurship, management, which really gave me, an introduction to the whole business side of the aspects and also improve my communication skills, I would say.
That's amazing. Like, I can say from my personal experience as well, now considering all these, like, you would have had to manage your academics in chemical engineering itself while also building up all of these other skills. So how did you make time to build your startup?
So I think one of the advantages of being a part of BITS was we all really had the flexibility to make our own timelines, whether it's prioritizing our courses and our time structure. So that really gave me a lot of time to go through the research material I was willing to, and gave me a lot of time to explore my opportunities. And of course, I think my courses like Principles of Management, and in fact, even in my core course, we learned a lot about financial aspects of chemical engineering. Those really helped me, brush up my skills and make some time to actually think about what I want to start.
Thank you, Tanisha. That is actually a very wonderful point that you mentioned. All right, so now we've had the perspectives of ex-students, the current student as well, and the faculty of what you would get to experience during this 4 years of undergrad. So Akash from Rewari has asked, like, how can I get a good package? Let's bring in the placements officer, Mr. Amsal Muneeb. So, Mr. Amsal, what are the various initiatives taken by the institute to prepare the students for the industry, like how to make them job ready?
Thank you, Lasya, for having me here today. It's a pleasure and a very warm welcome to all the viewers who are connected with us today on this session. Now, as an institute, we try and initiate things which could benefit students from the career perspective. We try and connect students to the industry professionals and experts. We organize talks from the HRs and the domain experts who give them understanding of the current trends and current scenarios of the market and how they can prepare themselves. Now, there's another thing which we specifically do for the chemical students is to plan the industrial visits. So students should have a feel of how the manufacturing plant operates. We also organize employability enhancement training programs, which includes the soft skills, the technical skills. Apart from that, we also organize career fair where we try and approach a lot of companies where students can have an interaction with the HRs and understand that how they can be well suited and well fitted for the roles. So these are certain things which we are doing for our students.
All right, that's amazing, Mr. Amsal. Yeah, these are a lot of very good resources to help students, carve their way out. Okay, all right. So moving on to the next segment. So we've seen what the course structure is like. We've seen what the student experience has been throughout the whole 4 years and how it has helped all of them after graduation. So let's move on to the next aspect. Once you've graduated, what are your future options? All right. So bringing in our corporate representative, Mr. Rajesh, who has been working in the oil and gas industry. He is currently working at Monaco Engineering Solutions, which he has bagged right after his practice school too. So, Rajesh, so what does the job scenario look like for a chemical engineer graduate? Like what is the kind of lifestyle and, what kind of package are you looking at right now after graduation?
Right, Lasya. I mean, as a chemical engineer, once you graduate, I would say the job profiles are quite interesting. You do have a lot of good opportunities to work in a very wide variety of fields, and I would say a couple of years ago, and now as well, I've noticed a trend, towards oil and gas, towards say R&D, as well as technical sales. In short, you get to be involved in a lot of say problem solving, research, as well as in a way contributing to the society, while making a relatively good salary as well. From my side, I would say the lifestyle as a chemical engineer has its ups and downs, as is with any job. As a young engineer myself, I personally love to travel, and I have been fortunate that my job allows me to do so. Other than this, I do feel that you do get to jump into, say, a project management or, a managerial role once you reach a certain level of technical competence. And I see these, as advantages of taking a job just after you graduate from your degree. Yep. Thank you.
All right. So what I'm hearing is there's a lot of scope for growth, not just in your technical field, but also at a personal level. All right. So you guys know the drill. If you have any questions at all, just put your question on the link given on the screen above, bit.ly/bpdcqs, small s. The link is also given in the description box. If at all we are unable to answer your question in this short time segment, our team is going to email you back with the reply. All right. So post your questions in the link flashing on your screen. All right. So we just heard from the corporate side of things. Now let's look at the flip side. So let's get in our master's representative, higher education representative, Chanel. So what sort of specializations are available going forward when you look at higher education in chemical engineering?
Okay, I think in terms of specialization, you have a lot of options. So initially, I was confused too regarding this. So there were a few things that I was looking at into personally. So some of them were sustainable engineering. So you have like a good foundation as a chemical engineer to get into many fields. So some of them would be sustainable engineering, or something that I'm personally interested in right now and I'm doing would be energy storage systems. So in terms of my decision to take a chemical and biomolecular engineering, so I looked at professors and their research at University of Pennsylvania, and I liked what they were doing in terms of energy storage and clean energy. And so that was one decision that I took. But in terms of when you have a chemical and biomolecular engineering degree, you could also get into the drug delivery side of it. So I have a lot of friends who focused more on the biotech and drug, like the pharma industry.
Wow. So that's a great answer. Thank you, Chanel. All right. So we have seen, the two commonly taken paths of a chemical engineering graduate. Now let's look at one of the lesser taken paths, but that is gaining momentum these days. So let's bring in the entrepreneur on the panel. So Ms. Tanisha, how popular is entrepreneurship as an option for a chemical engineering graduate? Like we know software startups, finance startups and all of these, but as a chemical engineering graduate, how popular is it? And what are the different challenges that you faced in the current situation?
I think being from chemical engineering background opens, paths to various other industries as well, whether it's beauty or chemical or pharmaceutical. So there's so many more options where I could actually use my knowledge of chemical engineering. But broadly speaking, I think being in a place like BITS, a lot of students also come from good educational business backgrounds. And interaction with such like-minded people also helps you think above and beyond mere studies or education. So that is definitely an option any day for somebody who wants to do something different in this field and something interesting as well.
Thank you, Tanisha. So that is very good. Like now we've had three different perspectives. I hope that answers your question. Ansh from Ghaziabad who had asked what are the future scopes for chemical engineering. Even Ansh Verma from Gorakhpur has also asked what are the different scopes of chemical engineering. I hope this clarified a lot of doubts that you may have had. Let's talk some statistics now. Coming to the placements officer, Mr. Amsal Muneeb. So, Mr. Amsal, like we've got a lot of questions from the students. Like Shrest is asking, how is chemical engineering useful, and what are the different packages available for chemical engineering graduates? And Sai Harsha from Vishakhapatnam has asked, how are the placements when it comes to chemical engineering graduates? So, can you shed some light on what are the career paths opted by chemical engineering students after graduation?
Right. I think that's one of the question which every student has in his or her mind, and that's a very valid question because they are very eager to know that what kind of roles and what kind of industries they get into when they do the chemical engineering. Now there are wide ranges of industries that utilize chemical engineers, so which includes your pharmaceutical, food processing, wastewater management, oil and gas, polymer processing, and information technology as well. Now, these roles are pretty much, in demand in the market. And apart from that, the students who develop their skills during the engineering duration of their 4 years, they can also go into the quality assurance, manufacturing, and consultancy. So we have seen a lot of diversification when it comes to the industries, when it comes to the roles, when it comes to the corporates. So we have companies like Reckitt Benckiser, who's into food processing. We have Sika, we have Becker's Group, who are into industrial coatings, paints manufacturing. We have DNVGL, Monaco Engineering Services, PwC, which is a consultancy and an IT firm. We have Thibodeau, we have Mina Waters, we have Chemipix. So these are the corporates who are currently hiring through campus placement program in BITS Pilani Dubai campus. Now, I would like to give you the last 3 years of the data which we have, and when the students have been into some of the corporates, some of the MNCs. Now, for a chemical engineer, the highest pay was 120,000, which is almost to 24 lakh to 25 lakh Indian currency. And the average salary comes to around 5.5 thousand dirhams, which is almost 1 lakh Indian currency. So that's how the highest package and the average package of chemical engineers are there through BITS Pilani Dubai campus and in UAE.
That's very, very interesting. Rajesh, who is one of our panelists here, he is working at Monaco Engineering Solutions. Like he's one of the students who got in. I hope this clarifies a lot of questions regarding the future options and the scope that you might have, viewers. But if in case you have any more questions, you can post your query to the link that is flashing on your screen. The same link is in the description below. Just post your query and our team will respond to you back over email. All right, so we've seen what the future holds for chemical engineering graduates. So coming back to our professor representative, Dr. Nishant Pandya, can you share some of the achievements of your students, some things that made you proud of the work that they've done?
Yes. Yes, Ms. Lasya. It's always, a pleasure and a matter of satisfaction to see the success of students. Right. So some of these achievements I would like to highlight here. So under the Expo Live University Innovation Program by Dubai government, a multidisciplinary team of students from chemical and electronics have secured a prize of 25,000 dirhams for their project on extraction of hydrogen from wastewater. Another group of 2 chemical engineering students have won the first prize of 5,000 dirham at a very prestigious event of 7th undergraduate research competition in Abu Dhabi. And very recently, I would like to mention this, that I have received an email from an alumni who has secured job after completing her master's in USA. So this is a very interesting story because she was a dual degree student of chemical engineering and biotechnology. So let me mention a little bit about what is dual degree. So it is also a unique feature of BITS Pilani, where a student who has opted a one particular discipline who can opt for a second degree at the end of the first year of his or her program.
All right, that's amazing. So this just goes to show how versatile chemical engineering is as a stream. Thank you, Dr. Nishant.
Thank you.
Right. All right, so now we've seen a wide variety of options available for chemical engineers from the professionals themselves. We've seen the research options, we've seen what kind of job opportunities are available, and even if you want to go the startup route. So let's bring in our student panelist here. Urvashi, what are you feeling about the future? What are your plans now that you've just graduated?
For sure. I think I would only think about doing graduate studies or masters in a field that I've identified as something that I want to delve into. So, in the long term, I would really want to work for an organization that is purpose driven, whose values are aligned with my own personal beliefs and attributes. There are a lot of learning opportunities and self development opportunities out there that BITS has really steered and gave us. Things to do and things to look at and things to learn. For example, the placement division has been very proactive throughout this difficult time. So they've really organized all of these workshops with professionals to boost student morale. At the end of it all, I really think that an engineering degree from BITS really teaches everyone resilience. That is something that's very important to pass these tough times in life in general.
Brilliant answer. Thank you so much, Urvashi. It's amazing that BITS has given a lot of support, whether you want to go towards a job route or for higher studies, by giving you all of those opportunities. All right, so we've seen what the whole course structure is like in chemical engineering. We've seen what kind of life you'll be having as a student and as a graduate after studying chemical engineering. So let's move on to the next segment. Let's see who is best suited for chemical engineering. All right, so we've got questions from Ankush, who's curious about how to get admissions in BITS Pilani in chemical engineering, and Tanishk Arora from Hathras also asked, I want to enroll in BITS Pilani, like where can I perform, how do I enroll in chemical engineering? So let's look at how to get admissions in BITS Pilani Dubai campus. So in fact, anyone who studied maths, physics, and chemistry in their grade 11 and 12 are suited to take chemical engineering, because these form the core subjects of the whole 4-year degree. All right, so let's look at what the admission criteria are for chemical engineering at BITS Pilani Dubai campus. Yeah. So admissions are open at BITS Pilani Dubai campus. The classes start from 1st September 2020 onwards. So the main eligibility criteria are you need to have finished your grade 12 examination or any equivalent from the boards like CBSE, ISC, state boards, or IB, or any other recognized school boards with physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And you need to have secured a minimum overall aggregate of 60% in all of your subjects in grade 12, along with an aggregate of 60% in physics, chemistry, and mathematics. That means if you total up your scores in physics, chemistry, mathematics, you should have secured minimum 60% in these three alone, and a minimum of 50% in each of the subject. And you don't have any other admission test or entrance exam to qualify. It is all completely purely based on your grade 12 board examination marks. And to proceed with the application, you just have to fill up an application form that is available to you online. All the students who have registered for the webinar, we will be sending the application link to you. It's on the website of BITS Pilani Dubai campus. And moreover, you are eligible to gain scholarship of up to 75% based on merit. Okay, so there are two ways to go about this. You can get scholarship based on your merit in grade 12 board exams, and there's also another examination being conducted, PBISC, where you can get the scholarship for the first year up to 75%. You can put your name in if in case you are interested in taking the scholarship test. Just go to pbisc.in and register for the exam. All right, so let's bring back Chanel Goikar, who has done her master's in chemical and biomolecular engineering. So, Chanel, what is your suggestion to the students who have just completed their grade 12 on how to decide if they are going to go ahead with chemical engineering or not?
Okay, so I think after finishing my grade 12, I was really unaware of what kind of course I wanted to do. It's just important to realize that chemical engineering is nothing like the organic chem or the physical chem that you take in your 12th grade. So there's always this, like, I think BITS Dubai gives you this flexibility in terms of your first year. It's common for everyone. Like, all engineering students have the same core subjects for their first year. And as long as you have a good academic standing, you can change courses and you can change your core engineering option.
All right, thank you, Chanel. That was a good answer. You actually touched on a point that was really close to my heart, is that chemical engineering does not equal to chemistry. So in your grade 12, if you had problems with chemistry, with your organic chemistry, with your physical chemistry, or with remembering concepts of inorganic chemistry, you need not worry about it, because chemical engineering focuses more on the engineering aspects of it as applied to chemical processes. Okay, so let's look at the answer from a corporate perspective. Let's bring Mr. Rajesh Suresh in, our corporate representative working at Monaco Engineering Solutions. So Rajesh, which are the 3 essential qualities a student must have to excel as a chemical engineer?
Right, Lasya. It's kind of difficult to put it into and pinpoint 3 qualities, but what I would like to say, keeping it very short, is that as a junior chemical engineer, the field is very dynamic and it's always constantly changing. So what I would say is that you need to always be ready to make mistakes and to learn from them. You need to have a mindset wherein you create less problems and try to create more solutions. And lastly, I would say, and this applies to any aspiring engineer, be it chemical or be it any other field, that you must be able to identify your strengths and learn how to use your strengths to improve yourself, as well as make a difference in the industry and in the world we live in. Yeah, thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you. That was very insightful, Rajesh. That's nice. Okay, so we have seen what are the eligibility criteria to become a chemical engineering and what sort of skills you would require if you wanted to go towards master's or the corporate path. If you have any more queries, if there's like a doubt, oh, is this for me? Can I go ahead with it? You can post your query in the link that has been flashing above the screen. Same link given in this description below. Visit bit.ly/bpdcq, the small s, and our team will get back to you with the answer over email. Okay. Now, coming back to a very different take for a chemical engineer. So let's bring the entrepreneur on the panel to hear her views about it. So Tanisha, what would be your suggestion to those aspiring to start up on their own after graduation, especially within this kind of industry in the manufacturing sector?
I think clarity is very important, Lasya. I started, researching about my career as early as my 3rd year of engineering. And I think research helps a lot. And there is a lot of time to do that particular research, and a lot of resources available on campus where you can, actually brush up your knowledge and actually prepare for what's to come. And I think that is where things mainly lie.
Amazing. That's a very good insight, Tanisha. So let's bring back the professor, the head of Department of Chemical Engineering himself, Dr. Nishant Pandya. So can you throw some light on, how do you decide if chemical engineering is for you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, well, this is the biggest question every chemistry lover, high school student would ask, Let me put this in a simple way here, that as someone with a major a degree in chemistry would tell us how a particular reaction take place in laboratory and what is its mechanism. Like it means when you mix two chemicals and how those atoms, will rearrange themselves and produce a new chemical. So that mechanism part. But while a chemical engineer would design the process and develop the technology by which this reaction can be carried out at an industrial scale to manufacture that particular chemical. So you'll be surprised that chemical engineer will learn all these things in the span of 4 years, where they will make sure the process is not hazardous to the society, it is not damaging the environment, and as well as it is profitable. It means they will also have a basic knowledge of economics. So the entire process, this what we talk about, can be simulated easily in a software in a classroom, using a computer, for example, Aspen Plus, without handling any hazardous chemicals. Thank you.
All right, so that really clarifies it a lot. All right, so guys, so I hope this clarifies, what chemical engineering entails, and it also gives you an idea if, this is the field for you or not. And that concludes our session on chemical engineering. So viewers, I hope a lot of your questions on what is the scope of chemical engineering, the job prospects, the course details have been answered. If not, you can still submit your question. The link is given in the description box below. So that's bit.ly/BPDCQS. So BPDC capital with a small s. So submit your question. And this is not the end of it. Applications are still on. The course starts on September 1st. So you've still got the time. And stay tuned, because the details on the admission, the prospectus, all of these details will be sent to you over email, the admission application form link as well. And there is going to be a scholarship test where you can earn scholarship up to 75%. So for more details, you can register on to www.pbisc.in. And don't worry, all of these details are mentioned in the description box below. And thank you to all our panelists for lending them valuable time, for taking part in the discussion and giving these very valuable insights and advice to our great viewers. All right, thank you one and all. It's been a great time and I hope you had fun. Stay tuned for the next session on civil engineering next week, same time.